Hi there and welcome to Developing Expertise. There are lots of different approaches to becoming an expert on a topic. The one I'm sharing will work for anyone who applies it thoroughly and completely. I have to include thoroughly and completely because many people say they want to become an expert in their field, but when it comes right down to it, they aren't willing to put the time and effort in that's required to achieve this goal. It's not hard to accomplish, but it does take an uncommon commitment to persistence to achieve this status. Here's a quick list of what we're going to cover. For some of you, this will be a different perspective on topics with which you're already familiar. Bloom's taxonomy of the cognitive domain as well as the affective taxonomy. I'll introduce you to the Gojis, or the Goji sisters I sometimes call them. We'll review the Goji Master Matrix. And finally, I'll give you a head start on overcoming one of the most common obstacles to achieving development of expertise. Due to the nature of the content covered this week, you will definitely need to download and study some resources to build your knowledge. If you haven't already downloaded the 6 Levels resource, you'll need that for this week. There are some additional resources available as well. All right, let's dive in head first. Bloom's taxonomy of the cognitive domain is a model that's often relegated to playing a significantly less valuable role that comes nowhere close to aligning with the value it contributes to conversations like this. But this often overlooked jewel offers well-defined stepping stones for developing expertise. These 6 levels take learners from introduction to expertise if they approach what's being learned with enough breadth and depth. We've all seen those little 4-year-old paleontology experts that specialize in dinosaurs. These kids can tell you everything about not just one type of dinosaurs, but all the different species. They can determine what species they are based on their unique characteristics. This is all usually without any assistance or guidance. So alone, they are getting all the way to the evaluation level of Bloom's taxonomy. 4-year-olds without any assistance. If a 4-year-old can do it with dinosaurs, surely we can use this approach to navigate our professional development. When you get a chance, commit to understanding the 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy and how each contributes to building a strong knowledge base. The downloadable resources for developing expertise will help you master the 6 levels confidently. Now let's transition to Bloom's taxonomy of the affective domain. This model doesn't get near enough attention or credit for being relevant either, but it's an important part of developing expertise. Receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. Including the affective domain is important because, after all, it's not just about knowing the information required for expertise or to be an expert. It's also about being able to articulate your expertise effectively, efficiently, and confidently if you want your expertise to be well received and come with influence, especially the influence required to achieve valuable outcomes. It's all about becoming an expert, the embodiment of expertise, and contributing to the betterment of your professional community. And now, I'd like to introduce you to the Goji sisters. These rascals are not just cute. They are the engine that empowers the cognitive and affective taxonomies. They are actually the how behind all those 4-year-old dinosaur experts I mentioned. First, we have pedagogy. Then I'd like to introduce andragogy. And finally, hudagogy. Okay, yes, I'm being silly, but seriously, huge value in understanding the Gojis and how they contribute to development of expertise. Generally, pedagogy describes the methods and techniques used in the development of instructional content or learning experiences for children. So it makes sense that most K through 8 and a good deal of high school learning experiences use this approach to instruction. Pedagogy is how most of us experience learning, especially in our younger years. It's defined as the art and science of teaching or orchestrating learning in the classroom and has been the dominant form of education and training since the 7th century. The teacher leads the process and the students follow along. This is whether it's in the traditional classroom, online, or in some hybrid format. Andragogy, on the other hand, is defined as the art and science of creating environments that cater to the needs of self-directed learners. And it has been around for a lot longer than you probably think. It's based on the work of Malcolm Knowles and our knowledge of what happens as learners mature, both in their age and in their ability to navigate learning on their own. Then there's a third approach that allows learners to operate even more independently. Hudagogy, also referred to as self-determined learning, was introduced around 2000 by Hayes and Kenyon, and is an appropriate option when learners are seasoned enough to make learning choices for themselves based on who they are and what they feel they need. This is exactly where you need to live to become an expert. Hudagogy requires the initiative to determine what content or type of learning you should pursue next. Finally, a vital aspect of Hudagogy and a tip of the hat to Bloom's taxonomy of the affective domain is the fact that your personal beliefs and actions really need to be considered during the learning process so you navigate achieving your goal in a manner that works specifically for you and your needs in achieving your goals. Here are a few things to keep in mind as it relates to pedagogy, andragogy, and hudagogy. There's a time and a place for each. It's about independence, not age. And it is absolutely required that you address all three when it comes to developing expertise. Yes, you can do it on your own, but it's great when you can find someone who can help you out and maybe support you from that pedagogical perspective, point you to some resources so you can operate from the andragogical perspective. And yes, you will definitely be operating from the hudagogical perspective to be able to navigate to your specific desired outcomes. Okay, let's talk about the Goji Master Matrix. This matrix is how I help people understand the path to expertise. I'll walk you through it, but you really need to study it from your personal perspective to get the most out of it. Across the bottom horizontal axis outlines the 6 levels of Bloom's cognitive taxonomy in ascending order from left to right. This axis defines the complexity of the information or content being learned. The vertical axis is labeled dependence, independence, and outlines the Gojis with pedagogy being at the bottom, then andragogy on top of it, and hudagogy at the top. Again, when you get the chance, study this matrix so you can see the area where expertise and autonomy are found. I've added these labels as well over at the top right of the matrix. The red text within the cells of the matrix represents how Bloom's affective taxonomy can be placed on top of the matrix to accelerate achieving your path to confidence and eventually expertise from the becoming or internal perspective. While I'm using this 2-dimensional form of media to explain all of this, it's really 3 dimensions created by overlaying these 2 taxonomies and the Gojis. And since I'm sharing what I learned along the way as well, it's really helpful to approach the affective domain as a lemniscate or the infinity symbol that is never ending. In fact, I love the way it doubles back through valuing when I lay it out this way, because as you begin making progress, it's doubly important to review your values often to be sure you're navigating in a manner that's true to what matters to you most and what gets you to where you want to be in the end. I don't just want you to achieve your goals. I want you to celebrate when you do and know that you are exactly where you want to be, doing exactly what you want to be doing. And finally, let's talk about locus of control. Locus of control refers to the extent to which people believe external or internal forces determine what takes place in their life or how their lives turn out overall. People with an internal locus of control feel like they get to choose how their life plays out, while those with an external locus of control believe external forces determine what happens. If you're struggling to make the progress you want to make, understand that it's on you to make it happen. No one can do this for you. After all, it's your goal you're trying to reach. It's not about luck, it's about that consistent, persistent effort. Meet people. Take action, create a plan. When it's hard, find a way to do one thing a day toward your goal. Little steps add up to big progress over time, and by all means, find a group, team, or environment where you can soak up some good feelings about your goals and the path to achieving them. Spend some time reviewing the matrix and reflecting on what you need to do to successfully navigate developing expertise. I'll see you in the next video, The Consulting Dynamic.